Next, we're excited to announce Kurt Shaver. Kurt is the founder of the Sales Foundry and is America's social selling expert. He trains salespeople on how to use LinkedIn to increase their sales. Kurt has 25 years of sales and management experience at Fortune 500s and Silicon Valley startups. Inside View named him a top 25 sales influencer. He's also credited with creating the Social Selling Bootcamp and hosts the #1 social selling podcast on iTunes. Join the team here at InsideSales.com in welcoming Kurt to the Sales Acceleration Summit.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Fast and Furious 7 Tips for Maximizing Your Sales Team's Results from LinkedIn. All right, so with that, here we go. I am your host, Kurt Shaver, there, impersonating as a Fast and Furious participant, but I'm going to use the real actors to help introduce our 7 tips along the way. All right, so here we go. The first one up, compliments of actor Vin Diesel. Tip number 1. Do your salespeople have a business appropriate photo? And that photo, again, gang, should be a headshot. So while this nice photo of Vin Diesel is great for his IMDb database, if he was going to put this in LinkedIn, he wants to have a tightly cropped headshot of just his chin to the top of his head. That's what you want in LinkedIn. And we're going to take a look at some of these examples in a real life. But here is just one example of what you might want to look at. I'm dealing with an IT services sales team selling cloud solutions. And this is what the sample looks like from the group. Again, oftentimes the sales executives thinks everybody's going to have a great looking photo, but you can see we've got a lot of the classic blunders here, right? The long shot where you can't recognize anybody, or the ghost image indicating that they haven't uploaded any photo at all. Or you might have the Facebook appropriate photo of the guy barefoot skiing. Or then we've got the bad crop job where you've got another person's face or a mystery arm wrapped around their shoulder. And then there's the dreaded sunglasses photo, the family man that's got kids crawling all over him. And, you know, it looks like he just got back from a hungover bender there. So those are not what we want to have. We really want to focus, again, on a recognizable and professional headshot. Here are 3 examples from clients in different industries. In this case, the focus is just on the photos. You can see they can kind of be straight up type photos or have a little sassiness in it like Melanie's there down at the bottom, a little bit more style. Tip number 2 is coming to us from Paul Walker, rest in peace. Tip number 2 is talking about having a headline that attracts. You know, in your LinkedIn headline, you've got 120 characters. This is usually the easiest litmus test to see how sophisticated your salespeople are on LinkedIn. Are they just saying account executive, or are they actually using those 120 characters to attract prospects? So here's some examples of what we're looking at. Again, if I just use our 3 examples from before, we looked at their photograph. Now we're going to focus in on their headlines. Heather says, helping organizations make technology decisions to positively impact their business. Adam says, helping companies create more effective benefit plans through data and health engagement. And Melanie says she's an expert at helping companies hire today to innovate tomorrow. So just by reading those, you know what they do. You know what the value proposition is. You know what they can do for you as a company. Again, we're just going to contrast those to the typical sales rep that just is going to have something like account executive in there, and it really doesn't give you any kind of description or leverage. So let's jump over into LinkedIn and see what those 2 profile related tips look like, so I can show you how to find those for your own team pretty simply. So I'm just going to jump over into my LinkedIn. I'm here on my home page. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a sample company. I used to be in the information security business, so I'm going to grab one of the companies out of that industry, a company called Blue Coat Systems, and I'll just use them for my example here. You would go to your own company's LinkedIn page, look at your salespeople. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to click on the 1,272 employees that have LinkedIn profiles, and then I'm going to filter them by people that are in the sales function. So I'm going to come down here. Now, this is one of the benefits of having the premium version. I get filters like function. You might have to put the keyword sales in if you're still using the free version. You could still get at the list. So you can see I've whittled down those 1,200 employees just to the 203 that are in sales right here. And usually the first ones that it's going to show are going to have pretty decent looking photos, well, usually. But what I want to do here is I'm going to jump down a couple of pages because LinkedIn is showing me 10 at a time. So that means I'm going to have 20 pages of people here. And usually when you scroll down a longer into the list, it's going to give you an indication of people that maybe aren't leveraging LinkedIn as well. And you can kind of zero in and see what you've got going on here. So at this point, we're 16 pages in, 160 people down. You can see we've got now a lot of ghost images of people that do not have photographs in there. And again, as the sales manager, I would just be coming in here and seeing if people have recognizable and professional looking photos. Tip number 3 comes from the actress Michelle Rodriguez, and now we're going to skip over into the networking features of LinkedIn and talk about the number of connections that somebody has. Now, this is a pretty gross measure. I'll give you a tip for how you can make that a little bit more segmented. But again, as just a very quick litmus test of people's LinkedIn seriousness, you can look at the number of connections they have. So using our examples from before, here's what it looked like if we actually pull up their connections. So in this case, we can see again, all 3 of the client examples have the over 500 indication, whereas the people that didn't have images and didn't have headlines in there have really low connection counts. In fact, you really have to wonder if they're using LinkedIn at all with those low of a numbers. So let's jump over into LinkedIn and see what it looks like. So if you're looking at your sales rep's profile, you're going to see the number of connections here in the lower right-hand corner of their main profile information right up at the top. And I think probably most people know that once you get above 500, LinkedIn is just going to show you the number 500. So you'll just see the 500 plus example. Here's what it looks like. Jason Stratham is bringing us tip number 4, and that is, are they on level 1 with you? Are your reps on the level with you? So are they connected to you? So that's going to give you greater access into their network. It's going to bring their posted updates up on your homepage and all those things. So as you know, whenever you look at people on LinkedIn, there's always a number next to them, and making sure you are connected with your reps is obviously one of the first steps you should do in leveraging a LinkedIn sales strategy. Tip number 5 comes to us from Ludacris, and we're talking about being able to search your reps' connections. Again, this is kind of the segmented version of tip number 3. We are not just looking at gross connections, but you want to be able to go in and see, do they have the right type of connections? So here is an example. Let's say that you are in the information security business selling software that protects IT networks. So you might be looking for people in that particular role. Maybe you're looking for people in the financial services industry in the San Francisco area, or you might even be looking for specific accounts like BlackRock or Schwab or something like that. So any of those things can help the sales manager determine if their sales reps are connecting with and have the right people in their network. Okay, here as a sales manager, you can check for the type of people that are in your sales reps network. And I'll use my friend Jeff True when we used to work together in the information security business. So again, the way it would work is I clicked the number of connections and it took me down to this section. I could have done the same thing by actually scrolling down to it, but I just used the power key by clicking on the 500 at the top of his profile. But what I'm trying to get is this section called connections, and what I'm trying to do is to see how many people does he have in his Rolodex that have the word security in their profile. So when I click on that little gray magnifying glass, a search box pops up. I'm going to hit search right there, and it's going to come back and tell me that 67 people have the word security in there. Now, if I wanted to, I could hit the advanced search, and I could see that there's 67 people within the connections of Jeff True that have the word security in their profile, and then I could come down and sort it by location, current company, or any of the other parameters on LinkedIn. So again, a great way if you want to look for, do they have the right kinds of prospects, or maybe you deal with a lot of referral partners in the business insurance industry. They like to be connected with attorneys, bankers, and CPAs who also have the same trusted relationships with executives at their prospects. Tip number 6 comes to us from Kurt Russell. This one we are talking about the saved search feature. It's kind of like Google Alerts except for people on LinkedIn. So as new people come into your territory or get promoted, things like that. It's a great way for LinkedIn to just send your salespeople fresh leads. And so you just want to ask them to take a look at their saved searches. If they're on the free version of LinkedIn, they get 3 saved searches. And as they pay more into some of the premium models, the number of saved searches goes up. But again, let's take a look at what that looks like. So again, I've set up a filter for sales enablement VPs in the USA. You can see right here. And so this is an email that LinkedIn sends me on a weekly basis. We can see the week span right here. So LinkedIn sends me an email on a weekly basis of new people that fit that criteria. And so it's very easy for me to take this list and then go do some prospecting. So let's say I want to come down here and look at the 4th person, Kelly Oliver, Vice President of Global Sales Operation Big Data at Hewlett-Packard. If I click to that, I'm going to go through to her LinkedIn profile where I can do some more inspection. And at this point, I can come down here and see that she has just been there 4 months, started around the beginning of the year. So that's always a good trigger event if you can find a new executive that has recently started. She's been there long enough to kind of get the lay of the land, but still early enough that she's open-minded and looking to put her impact on things, which is a great opportunity for a new vendor to come in and offer solutions. So you saw the punchline of it here. Let me show you how you get to it. You're going to come into your advanced search right up here, and if you're just asking your rep for them to show you saved search, have them go into advanced search, click on this little gray button up above the ad right there, and it's going to tell you all the saved searches that you have. You can see here on my paid version I get to save 10 of them, and right here is the group that yielded the example I just showed you, Sales Enablement VPs of USA. You can see I've got 61 new people since I had set this up. And the last tip that we're going to talk to comes from Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and that has to do with checking your sales reps' social posting activity, right? What sorts of things are they posting on LinkedIn in order to raise their visibility, increase their reputation as a thought leader, and attract prospects to them? So here's an example from another client, Jay Sedgwick, and here we can see he's got a nice variety of different combinations, whether it's just general business information about how business champs are made, or some company promotional information there, or just some things that he liked that somebody else posted. That's a good blend of different topics there. So how do you get to it? Notice the little magic black down arrow right there. That's where we're going to need to go on LinkedIn to see these activities. So let me just show you again how you check that out for your reps. So to see the example we just saw on the PowerPoint slide, what I'm going to do is come to Jay's profile right here, and you remember the tiny little black arrow? Well, it's almost hidden. Here it is right there. You see when I scroll over this tiny little black drop-down arrow, how a drop-down menu with about 8 different things pops up. We want to pick the very first one, which says View Recent Activity. And then when I do that, that's where I got my screen captures. I can come down here and I can scroll the types of things that he's been posting, what sort of likes, comments, shares, or other engagement are they getting from his audience, what's his variety and frequency. So again, that's a great way to do it. And as a sales manager, you can read what all your reps are doing and help identify best practices. So that's it. 7 tips. We went through it fast and furious. Hope you can use all of these to help your team leverage LinkedIn more. If you are wondering, I wonder how well my team is actually using LinkedIn and how their skills stack up to the competition, then I have something for you, and that is you can get your team's LinkedIn skills report. It's a report that I prepare involving LinkedIn KPIs. It establishes a baseline for any training and allows me to compare it to industry benchmarks. And so again, if you would like to document how your team is doing to see where you might want to be and where the opportunities are, then you can request this report for me. It's something I offer free to companies of 25 or more sales reps. Just visit this URL, bootcamp.thesalesfoundry.com. This has been Kurt Shaver with The Sales Foundry. Thanks for tuning in to the Inside Sales Acceleration Summit